start talking and discussing what's going on, just having fun and talking about music. And then at one point, Rob looks over at me and says, "What are you doing now?" And I said, "Oh, nothing. Always writing songs." And he goes, "Well, who's your drummer?" I said, "I don't have one." He goes, "Yes, you do. Who's our bass player?" I said, "I don't have one." And he starts pointing over his shoulder at our friend Steve, that was our original bass player, and then Bobby was there. I was like, "Well, let's take him too."
Yeah.
It just kind of became
instant band.
Yeah, it was an instant band, and 3 days later, we were in a room playing. It just kept going.
And blazed through 6 songs that night, which was pretty awesome and a good testament to the synergy of the band. To be able to make that much headway in 2 hours was pretty awesome.
Yeah, I would
say.
say.
Eric would bring great songs to the table too, so it was very inspirational to dig into those things.
Hey, Eric, I remember bumping into you at Cosmo one night, and you were talking about how you were, kind of maybe on the lookout for possible band mates. I'm guessing this must have been sometime maybe just before this. And
yeah, I'm trying to remember exactly when we were there.
I don't remember what show. I think it was after a show or something. And
it
sounds like, I think maybe your comment was that you just hadn't found the right people yet. So obviously this turned out to be the exact right situation.
I think everybody I knew was in a band.
Right, that
it was
happens,
like all my
yeah.
friends were in bands. So it was like, always hatching these, broken social scene-esque plots to kind of figure out how to quietly steal people without offending anybody and maybe not breaking the bands
Right.
at the same time.
Just have everybody be in your band.
Kind of borrowing, and it never quite turned out, and so it was just kind of waiting around. And to a level, I had kind of almost stopped looking. I was still working on songs, but I was working on a book and a few other things, and it just kind of fell in my lap, and I went, "Yeah, okay." And that's kind of how we work, actually, from the beginning. It was just stuff will show up, and we go, "Yeah, we'll do that," and we just go do it.
Really good opportunities just always seem to roll along that are generally a result of hard work and finely tuned perception, and then it just leads us to positive results. And it's, so far, we have yet, knock on wood, to hit any pitfalls. It's been really steady and good growth.
I mean, you guys have had a lot of critical acclaim. A lot of people have written, early on were writing really good things about the band, and then it wasn't long at all before you guys were actually not just playing here in town, but you were playing in the UK. I mean, that doesn't happen every day to every band.
No.
Maybe talk a little bit about how that came about and what that experience was like. That must have been incredible.
Sure. Basically, going to the UK was Ronnie from The Killers was doing Big Talk at the time, and it was something we kind of ran past him and that we wanted to come over, and so he was awesome and said, "Yeah, let's do this. Let's do a tour together over there."
I mean, you guys have a pre-existing relationship.
Yeah. I've been his drum tech for 6, almost 7 years now, and so.
And you've been on stage with the Killers.
Yeah. I played percussion too on the last tour, which was a lot of fun, and so we put some songs up online on YouTube, and there was a lot of attention coming from the UK. That's where a lot of the hits were coming from, and right soon after, a street team popped up over there, and it started with 2 kids, and then it became 50, and then now it's over 200. And
wow, kids you didn't know. I mean, that didn't
so we
play.
had no connection to it.
That's wild.
It showed up.
Yeah, these are devoted kids that are willing to go out and do what they have to do to promote, which is incredibly flattering, and validating. It's really awesome. So we felt like this is a great opportunity. Ronnie's going over. We can make this work together, and we can come over and play for these kids. So instead of doing a California tour or something like that, we went across the ocean, and started building it. The shows were great, and now we're booking another one for August, because I'll be out with the Killers, but we're going to be off for 6 days, and so we're building a 4-day run up through the UK, starting in London, ending in Edinburgh. So then Eric will fly back over. Our bass player already lives there.
Right, okay.
And
That
then
works
Bob and
out.
I'll fly to Italy back with the Killers again. So
So that's like in the middle of that European swing, you get to kind of wedge in
Who needs a
chunk
day
of
off?
dates. Yeah,
We don't
right.
like
Well, I
to
guess-
get it.
The funniest thing about the tour with Big Talk was, speaking of days off and not liking them, was they played 4 times. They played in Ireland with us too. But when we were on the run with them, they played 3 shows, and we played those 3 shows with them. But we were there for 5-6 days or something like that, and every day we would come downstairs that they didn't have a show, and they would be like, "Oh, what are you guys doing today?" We're like, we're playing a show. What are you guys doing? Well, we're coming to your show. Awesome, man. We go. We just booked the whole thing up, and like, we don't want time off.
Yeah, there were 3 shows, was it? at the time?
They were doing 3, and then we played every other. There was like show, day off, show, day off, show, day off, and
This
we just-
promoter in London got behind us and gave us a couple extra really cool shows. And then where else? Glasgow? Oh, wait, no, Edinburgh.
Edinburgh.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And then somewhere else. Anyway, it's a blur. I had so much fun, it's a blur.
Yeah.
And these were some of your first shows, period, but especially some of your first out of town. I mean, you
Yeah.
guys had played LA, but I'm guessing there hadn't been all that many.
No, we'd play Los Angeles one time.
Was that like shows like 6 through 11 or something like that?
Something like that. Yeah, it was really fast. I mean, our 3rd, 4th, and 5th show were at the Book and Stage.
Booking stage and
Right,
it was
Yeah,
like
that's
right.
right
You
after
guys
that.
did one of those
It was
residencies
pretty
there.
quick.
And I remember talking to you when you got back, and you were describing the reaction there that, people were coming up to you after the show and, really getting into what you guys were doing.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty amazing. And even the response, I think the first thing that was surprising was this response walking on stage.
Yeah.
We were surprised how many people already knew us over there because of those connections. Apparently, when they found out that we were going, they went and checked all the YouTube songs to see who we were.
Yeah.
We walked on, and the reaction was very quick. I mean, it was pretty stunning. But then, everybody would come up to us after the show. We'd go over by our merch booth, and we brought some shirts and a limited edition, like 2-song download and things like that. And it was amazing. Those kids were great. I'd go out before the Big Talk shows. I'd go and play at the line. There'd be a line down the street, and I would grab one of the acoustic guitars and go outside and start playing songs to the line, before the show. And they'd just pull out their phones and start filming and taking pictures, and it was pretty amazing.
Yeah, modern technology is great for that sort of thing. I mean, these kids
Yeah.
in England and all over there knew your stuff before you'd ever.
Before we even got there.
Yeah.
It was to the point where we actually were talking about it. We'd realized that we'd written so many songs that they hadn't heard, that weren't online. So they were expecting kind of this original EP that we had put together that was really kind of what the band formed around, was recording this first little set of songs. And so Rob and Bobby and I were talking inside one night. I was like, they're probably going to expect us to play this Empty Chambers song, which Bijou Phillips had sang on the EP with us, and we didn't play it anymore. Especially Channy from Dusty Sunshine had sat in a bunch of times with us here and sang that part.
I saw some of that.
Yeah, which was great, but over there, it just doesn't sound right without kind of that dual vocal.
A
There's
female
some-
voice,
Yeah,
especially.
there's just something missing. So we were inside, and it was like, oh, they're probably going to expect that song. And then one of the kids that was over there that we had been in contact with through like Facebook and Twitter and stuff, Ryan, we knew there was a song called Every Mark on Every Map that was his favorite song. It's a very quiet acoustic song, fingerstyle kind of thing, that just kind of was inappropriate to play in front of Big Talk because they were, a lot of fun and big, kind of rock songs. And so we had left it out of our set, so I just grabbed a guitar and knew he was standing outside and went and sang that song to him and sang Empty Chambers and started singing song after song after song and just kind of warming up outside. I wound up warming up outside.
Wow.
With
These kids are.
Great.
It was a warm day in London. It was actually like 90 degrees in London. They were just sweltering and dying in the sun on the side of the building, waiting to get in. And
It was like
Eric went out
Tuesday
there.
for us, yeah.
Yeah, and Eric went out and started serenading them, and man, it was awesome.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So you guys have a new album coming out soon. It's called Unnecessary Maps, and we'll talk about that in a second. But first, let's listen to a track off that album. It's called The Only Map You Need.